So talk to me first about why it is you wanted to come out here today, because something that struck me was when you were speaking earlier and you mentioned your anger because you had received a text message from the Biden campaign. Why is that?
So I received a text message from Joe Biden's campaign yesterday saying that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe v Wade and that it was my responsibility to then rush $15 to the Democratic National Party. And I thought that was absolutely outrageous because my rights should not be a fundraising point for them or a campaigning point. They have had multiple opportunities to codify Roe into law over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they haven't done it. And if they're going to keep campaigning on this point, they should actually do something about it.
Stern words there from a young woman who is fed up with the Democrat Party. Zoe Warren took to the streets to protest against the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the landmark ruling Roe v Wade, ending the constitutional right to an abortion. This means it will now be in the hands of the states of how they approach the right to access an abortion. As protests broke out throughout the country over what is one of America's most divided issues, Zoe Warren has a different take on it. She told MSNBC that she received a text message from Joe Biden's campaign telling her that it was her responsibility to donate $15 to the Democrat National Party. Zoe called that move absolutely outrageous, stating that her reproductive rights should not be a fundraising opportunity for the Democrats or a campaigning point. She then argues that the party has had multiple opportunities to codify Roe v Wade into law over the past few decades, but they've failed to do so. And she's right. Joe Biden did campaign on the right to access a safe abortion. He tweeted in October 2019, "Roe v Wade is the law of the land, and we must fight any and all attempts to overturn it. As president, I will codify Roe into law and ensure this choice remains between a woman and a doctor." When it was overturned, the president tweeted, "It's a sad day for the country. Nearly 50 years ago, Roe v Wade was decided. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people. Personal freedoms are on the ballot this fall." However, the president has also copped backlash for being hypocritical for this video from 2006.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy, and I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions, and they ought to be able to have a common ground and consensus as to do that.
When the leaked draft of the Supreme Court opinion was thrown into the spotlight in May, Democrats attempted to codify Roe v Wade into law, but they failed. It was blocked by all 50 Republican senators opposing the bill, along with Democrat Joe Manchin. Biden then used the recent overturning to call on Americans to vote for Democrat candidates at November's midterm elections.
If Congress, as it appears, lacks the votes to do that now, voters need to make their voices heard. This fall, we must elect more senators and representatives who will codify women's right to choose into federal law once again. Elect more state leaders to protect this right at the local level. We need to restore the protections of Roe as law of the land. We need to elect officials who will do that.
And former President Barack Obama tweeted about the Supreme Court's decision. He was called out for failing to codify Roe v Wade while he was in power, given the Democrats controlled the House and Senate from 2009 to 2011. One person commented on his tweet, "In 2008, you promised not to let this happen by codifying Roe, but then I guess you forgot to do it." Another person then posted this video.
Well, the first thing I do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing that Now, the Freedom of Choice Act is not my highest legislative priority.
Finally, here's a video of another female protester taking to the streets, blatantly calling out the Democrat Party for failing to uphold their promise.
This is the Democrats' fault. They let this happen. We let this happen. I mean, look at the majority that Obama had in
2009.
his first. Yeah, and nothing. The Republicans have been saying that they were going to do this for 50 years since Roe was passed.
Right.
They've been saying they were going to do this, and
they did it.
They did it, and they
Right.
did it, and they're not stopping there. This is just the beginning. This is just the start. So I blame the Democrats. Unfortunately, I'm voting blue, like I always have, but this is their fault. So.